Alright, so chat, let's get into this next thing from Obsidian Ant about the new upcoming changes to Elite Dangerous. I'm curious if there's more than what I saw last time. So I hope I'm getting some good information. So let's check this out.
Elite Dangerous Ascendancy is the brand new update coming to Elite later this year. In fact, it's going to be releasing on the 22nd of October. It includes the PowerPlay 2.
Wait, did he say 20 seconds?
In fact, it's going to be releasing on the 22nd of October. It includes the PowerPlay 2 update. It also includes the new ship, the Mandalay, which you can see on the screen.
I thought it was going to be in the beginning.
So I'm going to talk about both of these aspects of the update, and we'll begin with the Mandalay. So, this ship was announced last month, but this is the first time we've actually seen it in action. Here is, well, there's quite a bit of footage on the screen. And by the way, all of this was sent over by Frontier to me as a part of the Elite Dangerous Partner Program. So, the Mandalay is a purpose-built ship for exploration. Frontier have recognised that many people really do aim for a maximum jump range when it comes for exploration or to exploration, and that means ultimately a lot of people settle on the Anaconda. Unfortunately, that means sacrificing maneuverability, which isn't really ideal when it comes to exploration.
Yeah, Anaconda is a very, it's going to be cryptic. The 22nd of October. You just said it was the 22nd of October. And yeah, the Anaconda is a pain in the ass. The Anaconda flies like an apartment building with thrusters strapped to it. I hate flying the Anaconda. So I'm very interested in this.
Exploration. So the Mandalay bridges that gap, and it offers the best of both worlds. When optimised, it does surpass the Anaconda in jump range and offers the agility of much smaller ships. This means you can venture deep into uncharted.
It's better jump range than a fucking Conda. It says when optimized. When optimized means when engineered. It has better jump range than the fucking Anaconda. I want. If this thing can do what this is a medium ship. This is a medium. This is probably close to the size of an Asp Explorer based on the look. Based on what we saw on the platform, this looks like it's the size of an Asp Explorer. And if it can do better than Anaconda, you could potentially, without even doing a ton of engineering, I'm thinking you can get an 80 light year jump range out of this thing without a ton of engineering. If you lightweight a bunch of stuff and you engineer an SEO drive and put in a Guardian Friendship drive booster, I think you could get this thing to 80. That would be fucking awesome. I am 100% getting this as soon as it drops. As soon as this thing drops, I am 100% picking it up. Absolutely, I am.
This space, not really feeling like you're piloting a huge big brick. So, quite obviously, and perhaps expectedly, this places the Mandalay right at the top in the tiers in terms of jump range in all categories of exploration. It outperforms all the other ships, allowing you to reach those distant stars where previously you just might not have been able to reach, or simply had to do more jumps to actually get there. It's also got a pretty nice cockpit view there, hasn't it? Look at that footage where you can see.
Let's see. Let me see the cockpit view again.
Exploration. It outperforms all the other ships, allowing you to reach those distant stars where previously you just might not have been able to reach, or simply had to do more jumps to actually get there.
It's not a bad cockpit view. The Asp view is better. The Asp Explorer probably has the best cockpit view out of all the ships. For exploration purposes, if you just want to take in the sights, the Asp 100% has the best cockpit. But this one isn't bad.
There. It's also got a pretty nice cockpit view there, hasn't it? Look at that footage where you can see it down below your feet. Typical, really nice exploration type of view. So in terms of maneuverability, Frontier say that the Mandalay is at least as nimble, if not more so, than the Diamondback Explorer. It's also, like all the other new ships, comes outfitted with the ability for Super Cruise Overspeed or Overdrive. And whilst it's certainly the slowest in all the recent ships when it comes to SEO, It nonetheless, though, does have the capability, which makes for a great exploration.
Wait. What did he just say?
And whilst it's certainly the slowest in all the recent ships when it comes to SCO, it nonetheless, though, does have the capability, which makes for a great exploration addition. In terms of...
Interesting. So the Super Cruise Overdrive is going to be slower to ramp up than the other ships with SCL. That's interesting. Okay. But on the plus side, while it'll be slower to ramp up, it's still going to be more stable in Super Cruise Overdrive than most ships. The two most stable ships. No, only I'd say it's not more efficient. It's probably going to eat fuel the same as all the rest. But I would say that it's just slower to get up to speed in Super Cruise Overdrive. So the speed of it ramps up slower, but it probably uses fuel the same. Well, not Nantari. That's why I'm getting it as soon as it drops. I'm getting it, I'm rigging it up, and I'm going to test drive it as a rack ship. The first weekend I have it available. I'm 100% testing it as a rack ship, and it may very well be. This thing might replace my Dolphin. This thing could potentially replace my Dolphin. At the very least, it will replace my Asp Explorer for my Alticats. At the very least. Because I suspect that this thing has probably got, for a ship this size, like with an Asp Explorer, it's got, they have a Class 5 frameshift drive in it. My guess is to get this significant increase in jump range on a medium ship, my guess is they're throwing a Class 6 frameshift drive into it. That's my guess. Theoretically, they could do just a Class 5, because the Diamondback Explorer has a Class 5, and it can get jump range very similar to the Anaconda. It doesn't quite reach Anaconda levels, but it can get it similar to the Anaconda. But because this is a medium class ship, if they're saying that this thing can get Anaconda jump ranges, I think they may slap a Class 6 frameshift drive into it to account for that increased jump range. Oh, of course. Wait, Doc, how do you know it's Class 5? How do you know this is Class 5? Did they actually say that? Wait, did they actually put something out saying it's a Class 5 frameshift drive? Oh, they say it on the stream today. Of course, while I was fucking working. Because of course. So they're putting a Class 5... They must have fucked with the mass somehow then. They must have fucked around with the mass to make that Class 5 be capable of doing better than Anaconda jump ranges. Huh. And all the internals are Class 5. Jeez. Okay.
Outfit in, it comes with size 6 internal slots and matches the fuel scooping.
What did he just say?
Outfit in, it comes with size 6 internal slots and matches the fuel scooping performance of the Asp Explorer. So that
okay, so he was talking about optional module slots. Okay.
Means pretty quick refueling times, doesn't it? And less downtime. The optional internals include 3 size 1 slots, 1 size 2, 2 size 3s, 2 size 4s, 1 size 5, and a size 6 space as well. So yeah.
Perfect. Fucking perfect. I know how to rig up my rat ship with this thing then. The Class 6 for the fuel scoop, the Class 5 for the frameshift drive booster, the Class 3s for my, I use my Class 3s for my cargo racks for the limpets, the Class 1s for my fuel limpet controllers. Boom. I know how I'm gonna rig up my, now I know how I'm gonna rig up my rat ship. Perfect.
Yeah, it's a pretty versatile configuration, and you're about to outfit your ship with multiple SRV bays as well, and not to forget the Guardian FSD booster. Now, in terms of combat, obviously this isn't a combat ship, it's an exploration ship, but it's not entirely defensive. It has 4 medium and 2 small hardpoints, and these are placed in optimal positions to allow you for good coverage. 2 on the aft section, in the centre, 2 under the wings, close to the body and 2 besides the cockpit.
Honestly, that's a good hardpoint compliment. Yes, Homely, I am. Yes, I am. That is a nice hardpoint compliment. He said what? How many?
Placed in optimally defensive. Obviously, this isn't a combat ship, it's an exploration ship, but it's not entirely defensive. It has 4 medium and 2 small hardpoints.
Another medium and 2 small hardpoints. For an exploration ship, that is a nice hardpoint compliment. That is a really nice hardpoint compliment for an exploration ship like this. Damn!
And these are placed in optimal positions to allow you for good coverage. 2 on the aft section, in the centre, 2 under the wings, close to the body, and 2 besides the cockpit.
How many
it's really something that will allow you to at least get...
wonder how many utility slots it has.
Combat, at least defend yourself a little bit. Although I think if you're really pressed, if you're really faced up against some harsh danger, then you're probably going to be in trouble. Although that said, this is probably where the ship's agility will really come into the fore and allow you perhaps to escape situations that you might not be able to do so in other exploration ships. Now, this does have a...
Yeah, well, Bobcat, it's got me wanting to pop a heatsink.
multi-crew seat. It has room for 2 people, including you, so you can bring someone else along with you. Unfortunately, though, there's no room...
Wait, it says 2-seater.
2 people, including you, so you can bring someone else along with you.
Oh, it's a 2-seater also.
Though, there's no room for a fighter bay on board the Mandalay. Although...
Yeah, Nantari, they said when they first announced it that it is Zorg Pearson and that they took the cockpit design from the Mamba. That's where they got the cockpit design. They said that they took it from the Mamba.
Like we said, it does have room for SRVs. So there we have it, a pretty decent sounding ship. Now, keep in mind that this, like with the other ships recently, will be a paid-for ship. You'll have to buy it from the Elite Dangerous in-game store, with ARCs, with real-world money. Or alternatively, you can wait a few months and then be able to pick it up inside the game. Okay, so moving on, the large part of the next update, of course, is PowerPlay 2. This has been it's a key feature overhaul that Frontier spoke about many years ago at this point, and they've only just got around to actually publishing this. This is, like I say, coming on the 22nd of October, so obviously they have been working on this for a while now. So what does it mean for PowerPlay 1? Well, it means that any people who engage within PowerPlay 1 will find themselves unpledged from their current powers. Although, don't worry, Frontier say this unpledging won't come with any penalties like we might expect. Think of it instead as a fresh start. It'll give everyone equal footing to explore the new mechanics at the same time. So the landscape of the galaxy, the political landscape of the galaxy, is certainly going to change, but it will remain familiar. Frontier say that 99% of systems will stay under the same powers that they currently belong to in PowerPlay 1. So it's going to be somewhat of a careful transition, they say.
Sadistic, it depends on the ship. It ranges from like a couple 100,000 credits to a couple 100 million credits, depending on the ship. I'm going to guess that when the Mandalay, a couple months after release, when they put the Mandalay onto the open market where you can buy the ship with in-game credits versus the ARX currency, which is not the standard in-game credits. It's more like it's like points that you can earn in-game through combat, exploration, etc., but they build up slowly over time. But you can buy ARX with real money. When they release it to the open market for credits, Tari, I'm thinking it might hit the 6-digit figure. I think it's going to be one above. I think it's going to be more expensive than the Asp Explorer. So I think it's going to be into a 6-digit figure. Yeah, droning lows. That's what I'm thinking. 110, 125s. That I feel like that's where it's going to be.
Will this replace the free Anaconda at Hutton Orbital?
Wait.
Rather than a massive southern shockwave where everything shifts over to a completely different power. But that said, things are certainly going to work very different. In the revamped system, you can pledge your loyalty to one power at a time, The freedom to switch between allegiances is still there, so if you feel the pull of another power, you can make the jump whenever you like. You just need to unpledge to the current one and pledge to the new one. Now, also keep in mind, when Frontier say that they will unpledge everyone, you won't lose any modules or any other unlocks that you already have, but you will lose any gains that you have with that current power. So yeah, in some respects, you probably might see it as losing. In other respects, it shouldn't be making too much difference, but you will need to perhaps regain a little bit of work if you've been working on this over the weeks leading up to the update.
Yeah, drawing wise, yeah, you're right. 200k, it's not gonna be 200k. It'll be in the 100k. Sorry, 100 million range, not 100k, 100 million. Yeah, it'll be probably about like 110 or 125 million. I don't think it's gonna be higher than that.
Now, one of the big changes is the expanded range of activities that contribute to PowerPlay. Now, almost everything you do within Elite Dangerous can have an effect in PowerPlay. If you like trading commodities for profit...
Hang on, I'll check. Hang on, I will check right now. The most expensive ship. Oh yeah. Okay, so for context, the Asp Explorer. Let me find it. Yeah, we're going way over. Yeah, so I'd say, so for context, the Asp Explorer is 6.6 million. I'm like getting my prices way screwed up. So the Asp Explorer, which is the closest thing to this, is 6.6 million. I could easily see the Mandalay being about 20 million. I could see them upping it to 20 million, maybe 15. That's what I'm gonna guess. I don't know why the hell I was saying 100 million. God help me, I was probably mixing up thousands and millions, but I'd say 20 million, likely 15 million is when it finally is available for credits. The most expensive thing is the Imperial Cutter at 208 million, almost 209 million credits. And how hard is it to make credits in game? Not very hard, Falcon. It can be a little slow to start, but you can actually, depending on the activities you choose to do, you can make credits pretty quickly.
Or prefer salvaging valuables from wrecks. These actions, when performed in the right systems, while pledged to a power, will now bolster your chosen faction's influence. So it's a really good way to make everyday activities more meaningful in the grand scheme of the galactic politics. So basically, it seems that...
Oh, and I should point out, people that play Elite Dangerous on console, Xbox or PlayStation, none of this means anything to you. You don't get any of this. Elite Dangerous on consoles is still stuck in the legacy version. So basically, the version of the game that was present right before the Thargoid War broke out, that's the version of the game you'll have. You don't get the new codebase, the 4.0 codebase. You get the old 3.8 codebase. It's just before the Thargoid War started. You don't get the Super Cruise Overdrive drives. Nothing. So console players get screwed. Unfortunately, they stopped all development. Well, Potato, that's what they claim. They claim that when they were working on Odyssey, they claimed they were working on it for consoles as well, and Frontier claimed that they simply were not able to get the 4.0 codebase, which is brand new codebase for Elite. When Odyssey came out, they claimed they could not get it to work on console. So basically they just said, we tried, we can't do it. We're halting all development for the consoles. So they've got the 3.8 version. That's all it is. They occasionally might throw out a fix for it, but there's zero development for Elite Dangerous on console. It is basically just waiting for them to stop running the servers. It's still fully playable. It is 100% still a fully playable game, but you get no updates to content. It has not gotten update to content for at least 2 years. So console players, unfortunately, yeah, it's basically maintenance mode. console players are kind of screwed. No console player will be able to take advantage of this.
So long as you're pledged to a power here, you can go about your daily activities and still contribute towards PowerPlay. So for those of you who really do enjoy ground-based activity in Odyssey, what does this mean? What does
Honestly, I'm not overly impressed with what he's talking about with PowerPlay.
Bring new opportunities.
I'm not overly impressed with how he's talked about PowerPlay. I was never really interested in doing PowerPlay other than if there was like a certain module one of the PowerPlay factions had.
Which is fucking bullshit if you're asking me. It should be shut down for console.
Okay, I've heard that argument many times. The thing is it costs very little to run the servers because there's not that many players on console. And they did offer, Frontier did offer, when they made this announcement, they said, we will port your entire account from console to PC minus like fleet carriers. The fleet carriers would not transfer over, so you're kind of fucked there. But they offered to port all of your entire character, including skins and money, like credits, from console to PC, and they were going to give you a free copy of Elite Dangerous Horizons for PC when you did that. So console players, if they wanted to keep going, they wanted to shift to PC, they could basically get a free copy of Elite for PC to continue playing on. And the simple solution with the fleet carrier is you sell your fleet carrier on console, you get all those 7 billion credits back, port your character over to PC, buy yourself a new fleet carrier. But yeah, that was, and honestly, that was reasonable for them to do. They're like, look, we can't do anything more for the console, but if you want to keep playing, we will give you a free copy of the PC version, and we'll port your entire character over to the PC for you. Honestly, that's pretty decent of them, in my opinion. That was a pretty decent thing for them to do, to try and maintain their player base. I can't complain about that. That was actually a nice thing for them to do.
Is to get your hands dirty, you'll be able to undertake missions
but I'm still not
like uploading spyware to rival settlements or delivering biological samples to your power's contacts. And these tasks not only give you a bit of difference in a bit of a shake-up, bit of mix-up, bit of variety in gameplay, but they also give you some extra engagement with the universe itself. Hopefully, that's not just Frontier giving a bit of PR speak. Hopefully that will actually, well, give us a little...
Yeah, I was never all that interested in PowerPlay to begin with. This isn't encouraging me to want to engage in PowerPlay further, honestly. PowerPlay was just like, unless I wanted the specialty module that you got after pledging to a PowerPlay faction and sticking with them for like 4 weeks, and you get access to that module, that's the only reason why I ever joined PowerPlay. Otherwise, PowerPlay is basically factions potato. They're superpowers. So you've got like 8 or 9 superpowers that you can pledge your allegiance to them and do missions for them to spread their influence into other systems or maintain their influence in systems, and you get rewards. So every week, if you do enough missions for them, you get rewards in the form of credits, and once you've been pledged to them for 4 weeks, every faction has a specialty little module. So Aisling has prismatic shields. Oh, okay, hang on. We have an announcement in Discord. Hang on. Corey wants me to make about an announcement. Hang on. Okay. So, hey guys, we are currently having some suspicious stuff going on with Tysell or someone claiming to be him. Do not click on any links from anyone claiming to be Tysell or an account named Haskell. Haskell. We are attempting to get to the bottom of this and we'll update everyone when things are figured out, but for now, do not trust anything from any of those accounts. Okay? So something's going on with Tysell's accounts. So anyone that's claiming to be Tysell or Haskell, do not click on any links put forth buy them. We won't get links in the Twitch stream because links cannot be put into my Twitch chat. But in the Discord, if you see Tycel put out any links in the Discord, for right now, do not click on them. Do not click on them. We are investigating. When we get it sorted, we will we will make an announcement. So that's where we're at right now. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I see it. I'm seeing it. So, alright, just beware, guys. Tycel's having issues. Unfortunately, don't click on anything. Watch for the announcements in the Discord. We will make an announcement when we've got it sorted, when things get figured out. So that's what we're doing for, just be aware of it. Yes, Discord does have two-factor authentication. It does. You can enable two-factor authentication in Discord. Yeah, and if you see anything, let a mod know. Let one of the Discord mods know. Okay.
A little bit of more flavour and a little bit of more feeling engaged within the world we actually inhabit. So the crime and punishment system is going to get a little bit of a change here. Not a massive overhaul by the sounds of it. I know a lot of people have said over the years they'd like a massive overhaul.
Really, Vishrock? Okay, so someone's making the rounds on... Fuck us VTubers just cannot get a break these days, can we? They're going after VTubers again.
Sure, actually, how many people around today who are still playing Elite Dangerous remember the old crime and punishment system, or the when the current crime and punishment system was introduced. So do let me know if you remember that. But at any rate, it is going to get somewhat tweaked. So yeah, it seems the main focus here that certain PowerPlay security forces will engage you if they discover your allegiance lays elsewhere. Although that said, it seems that regular security forces, those aligned to major powers, will be, and perhaps other factions as well, will be indifferent to your PowerPlay status. So it's a subtle change, but one that adds a layer to the game. It will probably give you a bit more attention and a little bit more, well, you're going to have to really think and plan ahead if you're heading into territories that are rival powers. And talking of powers, there will be new powers coming along. Now, the existing powers have been here for a long time, nearly 10 years at this point, but there will be some new ones coming up. Frontier haven't spoken to the specifics on this or exactly how many they're going to be, but apparently they say it is going to open up some new possibilities in terms of alliances and rivalries. Now,
and honestly, the only thing I can see that is going to be a draw for people with the new powers, honestly, because most people don't engage in PowerPlay. Most people do not care about PowerPlay, honestly. And this is not going to bring in new people. The only thing that it's going to be bringing them in for, I think, is what specialty module these new superpowers are going to have. That's what's going to get people to engage in the PowerPlay. Because each of these new superpowers will have a new specialty module. Like I said, like with Aisling, she's got the prismatic shields. Archon has got the I forget what it's a pulse laser specifically designed to take down shields. There's the Imperial Hammer, which is a railgun that's like a 3-burst shot railgun. So it's like stuff like that. I could see people re-engaging in PowerPlay to get those new modules, but that's it. Once they get those modules, they're going to leave the power, and they'll be done with the PowerPlay. This is not really going to be encouraging people to actively engage in the PowerPlay all that much, I suspect. That's my feeling. Hello, Rotax.
In terms of rivalries, obviously, as one power grows, another will probably, in all likelihood, shrink. And that's led to the question of what will happen to those powers that get a little bit too small. Could they be potentially completely eliminated? Well, Frontier say that there's no automatic system that allows for a power to be completely eliminated, but Frontier say they will keep an eye on the dynamics and how they unfold nonetheless. So the hint here, the suggestion seems to be that Frontier may well remove a power if they get too small, although In a way, something I'll kind of believe when I see it. I don't know about you. But either way, it does sound like some great potential here, with powers growing and shrinking, a whole dynamic going on within the galaxy. Something which has been there to an extent all along with PowerPlay, but something which also seems to be coming far much more to the fore with the new system. So another thing that Frontier took...
I still kind of am in the camp of, I think they need to burn the bubble. I think right now they need to, if they want to make things really interesting, I thought that maybe they were going to go this route with the Thargoid War. I was kind of wondering if this was how the Thargoid War was going to take things, that the Thargoid War was going to actually properly invade the bubble and scatter humanity. Like, I was kind of hoping for it because that would make things interesting. If the Thargoids actually invaded the bubble proper and caused humanity to scatter, that would now, and then you have mini bubbles popping up all over the place. That would make things like, we watched that video about it. The video called Burn the Bubble. That would make things really fucking interesting. And I still think that's the best way to go if you want to make things. I mean, Colonia would be another bubble. That would be one of the bubbles. So, you know, you have like a bunch of those scattered within the galaxy. You know, you could have one main hub area where there's some more concentration than normal, and then you have other bubbles scattered throughout. That would encourage travel, encourage exploration, encourage, maybe, doing missions for these superpowers. I think it'd make things really interesting.
Talking about here is simplifying the whole process, especially when it comes to control. One big shift here is the removal of government types as a factor in power control. Previously, a line with specific government types was essential for optimal control and expansion, but now powers can take over and maintain systems without worrying about matching government types. And this change should hopefully make things a little bit more simpler and, well, a little bit straightforward. In other areas of the game, we have the background simulation. This is another area of the game a lot of people like to compete in and a lot of people like to play.
Exactly,
now, the BGS
Bobcat
doesn't directly interact with PowerPlay 2. Your actions within the BGS, however, can still impact your pledged power indirectly. For instance, Frontier say influence a system's economy or security through the BGS activities can bolster your power's position. So there is a relationship here, and it's one that rewards players who are active on multiple fronts. But that also means that if you're not pledged to a power, you won't be able to influence PowerPlay 2. And this is a design choice that really encourages players to commit to a power if they wish to affect the broader.
And that's kind of interesting. That even if you're not pledged to a power, your actions in the system can still affect that power. That does kind of give Elite more of a real world feeling where, if you are engaging on a small scale, in a way, still affects the large scale things. So I like that. That's kind of cool. You don't necessarily have to be pledged to a power, but you can, you doing your little minor corner of the bubble thing where you're doing jobs for, where you're doing the Robogo runs or you're doing massacre missions or whatever, that can affect the power play as well. So that's kind of interesting. That's actually an interesting idea. I kind of like that.
Political landscape in the game. So yeah, it does make some sense here. Frontier say if you want to be able to impact and change the system, you need to be a part of the system. However, Frontier are keen to point out that all the various activities within the game you'll still be able to engage with even if you're not part of PowerPlay. You just won't actually contribute towards the PowerPlay dynamics. And talking of dynamics, Frontier have mentioned previously that settlements, space stations and other controlled areas will have visual changes depending on the influence they're inheriting from the controlling powers. So all of this talk about...
Well, okay, so that visual changes, my guess is like these banners will look different, or the wall posters will probably look different depending upon the power that's in control of that area. Probably a minor little aesthetic change, which is not bad. It's fine.
Powers may make you wonder the effect you can expect to see from larger powers versus smaller powers and vice versa. So this is for something that Frontier do want to ensure is balanced at least as best as possible, and that means that they really want to see that smaller powers do remain competitive against larger, more widely backed ones. So the new system includes...
Yes, Donut, you can. With if you have Elite Dangerous Odyssey, when Elite Dangerous Odyssey launched, that was the expansion that allowed you to exit your ship and walk around on planets or walk around in stations or on fleet carriers. So yes, that's been around for a couple of years, for like 2 years now. 2.5 years now. You can get out of your ship and walk around on stations. Yep.
Those mechanisms to help them defend.
Johnny Wills, I agree. I'd like to see more layouts.
Have more territory. That means they'll be spread a bit more thin, or perhaps they'll have more fronts to defend, and this could make them susceptible to coordinated attacks. Meanwhile, the smaller powers would obviously have a smaller footprint, thereby making them perhaps a little bit more isolated and maybe a little bit more protected. Although, all of this talk of danger and systems being taken is going to remain a thing that certain systems will remain safe havens. So that includes headquarters or capital systems of powers. These will be immune to PowerPlay actions, and I think that there'll be very few people out there, if any, that are actually surprised by this. And ultimately, what this means is that it does give a stable
Geronimo's, that would be fun.
Power-related activities. You'll always know that the headquarters or home system is always going to be safe. It's always going to be there. In terms of squadrons, squadrons are going to continue to...
Technically, they're not battleships, Falcon, but on ships that have multi-seat capacity, of which there are many, you as a player can get into another player's ship, and if that player's ship is equipped with turreted weapons, excuse me, if that player's ship is equipped with turreted weapons, yes, you can be a turret gunner in that ship. I actually, with one of my fellow fuel rats, who actually doesn't fuel rat all that much, they more are combat, when they were going after the Thargoid Titans, they asked if I wanted to join them on it, so I jumped into their ship, and while they flew the ship, I worked the turret weapon to shoot the heat vents of the Thargoid Titan while they piloted around. So yes, you can. And like Cryptic said, you can also be a fighter pilot. So if the ship has a ship-launched fighter bay installed into it, you can get into the small ship-launched fighter and go flying around. So yeah, you can do like multiplayer things on ships like that. It's pretty cool.
Interact with PowerPlay as much as they did
You don't
before,
need to, Potato, but you can.
Change here.
You have the option.
Minor factions and powers are now going to be
hiring an
uncoupled,
NPC crew is
and that means your squadron
optional.
can align with a minor faction that's different from your power's superpower alignment. So yeah, there's going to be a lot more flexibility here. What does all of this mean for rewards? Well, there's going to be a range of none.
Bobcat, if I have a turreted weapon in a ship that has weapons in the aft position, yes. I could actually have 2 gunners. If I have a ship that has multiple turreted weapons and a 3-seater ship, I could have 2 gunners in that ship. Yes.
Credit rewards to make allegiance even more worthwhile. And these include perks that provide benefits within your power's systems, care packages filled with engineering materials, and access to unique modules. Interestingly, every power now offers all of the unique PowerPlay modules.
Cryptic, I've actually said this. When I get the new computer, we may do, as a stream idea, I may do a stream night, like on maybe a Sunday, because we're going to want a lot of time for this, where everyone in our community fires up Elite, and we do a massive Elite Dangerous night with all of the commanders in stream doing something like Thargoid attack or something. Yeah. Cryptic, funny you should ask. I just checked. It is due to ship out October 1st, and I expect it to take about a week to get to me.
Which you'll unlock as you climb the loyalty ranks. The order in which you receive them varies by power, adding a slight variation in how these actually unlock, and that might influence how the allegiance you choose to have when it comes to the power you want to commit to. Now, talking of resources and pricing and all this lot, powers will now have a tangible effect on the commodity prices within the systems they control. Some may directly alter prices to benefit their agendas.
Well, Kierna, as long as you have decent internet, you should be fine. Like, I run CyberUp, which obviously is very good internet. I've never had a problem. But even like basic fiber up, so if you're getting if your internet connection is like 200 megabits up and or 200 megabits down, or even like 150 megabits down, you should be fine. I've got plenty of people in the Fuel Rats who their internet is not the greatest in the world, and it can still run elite fine. Like 150 megabit down should be fine.
While others might influence markets indirectly through player activities like incentivized trading. So this should make the economy landscape a bit more dynamic as it opens up to
Johnny Moss? That's the question.
And you may be wondering just how far and wide the influence from those powers can actually be.
Okay, so Bath, with Elite Dangerous, it's not so much the up, it's the down that you need. If you've got a decent down, you'll be fine.
Well, it seems that powers can spread their influence to any human-populated system within their control range. There's no hard cap here on expansion, but strategic planning, frontiers say, is essential. So stretching too thin could leave a power vulnerable, so careful consideration of where and how to expand will certainly be key here. Now, one thing we saw early on, a while ago, when Frontier did a previous preview of PowerPlay 2 with the changes to the UI. And you'll be able to keep track of your power's influence through regular updates in the game's UI and the user interface.
Okay.
Which, whilst it won't provide minute-by-minute changes, Frontiers say these updates will offer timely information to help you make strategic decisions.
Hello,
so
Edgar.
It's going to be a handy tool for staying engaged with the larger picture without getting bogged down in constant data. Hopefully, Frontier do manage this right. Now, if like me, you prefer to play on your own and you like to try and sidestep a lot of these activities, what does it mean for independent commanders? What does it mean for players who prefer to fly on their own? Well, good news. Whilst you'll notice changes like shifts in commodity prices or security forces due to power influence, your core gameplay won't be disrupted. You might be witness to some big battles going on between the various powers, and that could add to a different layer to the.
And that's always been a staple with, if you want to just go off, that's one of the things about, with PowerPlay or with the story components, like the Tharvoids, that's one great thing about Elite, is you're not obligated to participate in any of it if you do not wish to. That's one thing I always praise about Elite is 100% endgame content. Oh, thank you, Edgar. Thank you for the gifted. Elite is 100% endgame content from the very beginning. You can literally do whatever you want. You are not obligated to follow any of the story arcs if you don't want to. If you want to just from the get-go, earn yourself a good exploration ship and just get out there and start exploring, you can do that. If you want to get out there and immediately start trading, you can do that. If you want to get out there and start mining, you can do that. There's some stuff that you'll need to grind for, like for some modules, but you don't have to follow any of the storyline if you don't want to. That's the great thing about Elite. It doesn't force you to follow a main story, and then after the main story is done, then you can get the open world. It is literally 100% open world, do whatever the fuck you want. And I can't think of a single game that I've played that does that. Honestly. Oh, yeah, Drowning Modes, the Guardian Frameshift Drive Booster is a must these days. Doc, carriers can't have ship-based fighters. You can't get SLFs on a carrier. SLFs only go into ships. Carrier, you can't do fuck all with a carrier. Edgar, it's called Elite Dangerous. It's a really fun, completely open world space simulation game. That is for scope, it is a 1-to-1 representation of the Milky Way galaxy, the actual Milky Way galaxy. Okay, well, you said carrier. I thought you were suggesting fleet carrier. Okay, I got you, Doc.
the galaxy there, the tapestry that you play against, but ultimately you won't be forced to participate. Although Frontier do say there hopefully should be some organic conflicts and changes here. PowerPlay 2 does include new conflict zones and unidentified signal sources, and these will be specific.
Yeah, once you get into the group, Natari, it's easy.
Is that conflicts over key resources or strategic locations will emerge naturally based on player actions. So if all of this is to be believed, then the idea is that
no, Falcon, fleet carriers are basically, from a player perspective, fleet carriers are basically like mobile space stations that you own. Their purpose is for you to like sell modules, sell cargo, store your ship, store your modules, and you can jump it from system to system, but you can't actually like fly it. You can't fly it like your spaceships. The only way to move it is to hyperspace jump it from place to place, which uses tritium as its fuel, and that can get expensive. So yeah, it's fleet carriers are basically player-owned mobile space stations.
Frontier are putting more control of the galaxy into player hands. Now, if you are committed to a particular power and you decide to switch powers, the main penalty for that is going to be the loss of your loyalty ranks and associated perks. You need to rebuild your reputation and unlock modules again from scratch with the new power that you decide to commit to, but beyond that, there's no additional penalties, so you are free to explore different powers and switch between them as and when it suits you, and whichever really suits your playstyle. As for Thargoids, well, Thargoids are going to remain a presence in the galaxy, and Thargoid invasions, in the face of Thargoid invasions, powers will retreat from affected systems, just like any human faction.
Okay.
After the threat is neutralized, powers must convince the local population and governments to allow them back in. And this, this will add an element to PowerPlay that really is outside of players' control, because ultimately it will be impacted by the threat of the aliens that are out there. So that's a bit of a summary of PowerPlay 2. Now, it's perhaps not quite as in-depth as I would like to have gone
just
with this.
About,
I
yeah,
have given a lot of information here, and unfortunately they sent this through pretty late in the afternoon and didn't give a whole lot of time to really produce a high quality video. But nonetheless, I wanted this information out there, and it's something we can certainly revisit in more depth and in more detail as the weeks go on. Certainly, if this is something you'd like to hear more about, do let me know, and we can perhaps deep dive into what all of this means to Elite Dangerous as we, as the update arrives. What impact will it mean to the game and overall? So yeah, pretty long video. Thanks for watching this video all the way through. There is another video on the screen here if you want to check that one out. Thanks for watching. Do take care, and I'll catch you next time.
Okay. So, okay, hang on, Ragged. I'll back it up to the cockpit view again for you.
The Elite Dangerous in.
There we go. It's basically the same as the Mamba cockpit, Ragged. This is the Mamba cockpit.
On the large part of the next update, of course, is PowerPlay 2. This has been.
Yeah, so you can tell they did, and they said they took the cockpit from the Mamba. Yep. Okay, so that's actually, I was wondering, like, okay, was the new PowerPlay going to be a result of the end of the Thargoid War? But apparently it's not. The Thargoid War is going to continue even with the new PowerPlay, so the end of the war is not in sight. I was curious because I thought maybe, okay, yes I can. Okay. Yes I can. Hang on. I will do that right now. There we go. Okay. Should be good, Corey. So yeah, that's one thing is yeah, I mean, it's hard. It does beg the question. What is next? They invaded Shinrata. Are they going to start going deeper into the bubble? That's the next question. Are they actually going to go deeper into the bubble with this? Because if they do, that has some potential. Ryget, I don't know. My crack team is figuring it out. So that we will get this sorted. Do not worry. We are going to get this sorted out. Good question, Droningos. Just Christopher, the war has been going on for I think a year and a half now. I believe the Thargoid War has been happening for about a year and a half. No cryptic. I give them lewd. That's their crack. My lewdness. There you go. How's that? I think Brygat, I have down the line, I suspect, depending on which direction Frontier wants to go with this, I think that the Thargoid War is going to conclude one way or another with an invasion on Sol. I do think that that is going to be the end game for the Thargoid War. Whether it means that it's going to shatter the bubble, like I was just talking about, or if it's going to conclude the war with humanity defeating the Thargoids and sending them running, I think that the ultimate conclusion will take place in Sol. That is going to be the climax of the Thargoid War.